name is John Akomfrah. I'm an artist and filmmaker, and I'm here to talk to you today about Farewell Amor, which is a film you've just seen. And I'm very, very lucky to have next to me Ekwa Isangi, who's both the director, rather, and an ally. Am I okay to say director and ally?
Yeah, absolutely. I should certainly hope so.
When we met, one of the things I was convinced about was that you wanted to make projects about the African experience in New York, where you were at the time.
Yeah, so Farewell Amor is a project that's been sort of stewing in my mind for a long time because it's a family story. It's inspired by an aunt and an uncle who were married in the mid-90s in Tanzania. And my uncle got a student visa to come to the US and had every intention of bringing auntie and cousin right behind him. And to date, they've still been stuck in visa applications, visa rejections, visa applications, visa rejections for decades. Watching their struggle for so many years, I wanted to make the what if story. I had this image in my mind of my uncle, what if auntie finally got her visa? That's no longer the issue. They're coming. They're coming. It's a done deal, and so uncle's at the airport at arrivals gate, and he's like, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? Would he recognize them? What is the first thing to say? For me, New York is a place that has all sorts of people like that, not just African immigrants. Everybody is that, and including a lot of the white immigrants that came to New York through Ellis Island way back when, who left behind everything in Ireland and Scotland and wherever else they came from to start this new place.
As you may be aware, I'm a child of one of those exiles in the film.
Yeah.
And it is very much in the context of your unfolding story that I arrived here, except that I came with one parent and one who couldn't join because they died in a coup, basically. And I was really struck by how different that story that you have here is from the other New York Africa stories. I mean, was that a conscious attempt to try and avoid the other ones, or do you know what I mean? There's a way in which stories are made about Africans in New York, and this doesn't feel like one of them.
Most of the films that at least I've seen or that tend to be popularized, certainly funded through a Hollywood type system, tends to be about either the most exceptional African ever or the most sort of destitute, struggling African ever. Yes, it's a story of immigrants, but I wasn't very much interested in talking about the political aspects of their immigration, which tends to be the other type of stories, sort of like the cause, the issue driven, what happens when they got to the border and then the racist cop said, and the racist immigration laws or anti-immigration laws made them do XYZ. I mean, that is a story and it certainly happens and it's very serious. But I really wanted an opportunity to just like depoliticize the immigrant. First of all, not giving them the titles as an immigrant, but actually like names, like we actually know them as people. I mean, it's harder for people to relate if it's just about a very specific political issue that I may never have experienced. And it's like, oh, what a terrible thing is happening to them. But we've all experienced heartbreak. We've all experienced longing. We've all experienced, being new in an environment that we're unfamiliar with. And I feel like the way to know them as people is to know their sort of like their heart problems.
Sorry for being late, Mr. No.
Okay, immigration, life quality.
I was involved with a feature set in New York about the coming to America scenario. And so I know the importance of casting. And I think in many ways, partly why mine didn't go to the final hurdle was because we didn't quite get the casting right. So tell me something about your cast, because it's a fabulous one.
Yeah, we got really lucky. I mean, I was very clear what I needed them to do.
Mm.
I needed people who had dance ability, for at least for Walter and Sylvia's characters. I needed people who could be taught an Angolan accent, not an African accent, because there is no such thing, but specifically an Angolan accent, which is a very difficult one.
Lord, thank you for bringing us together.
And then I just wanted them to actually look like they could be a family. So we started with Sylvia, and she came through our casting director and was just, there's something about Jamie that is so striking. I mean, she's beautiful, yes, but just like even her intensity and her personality is just so striking from the minute you meet her. For the other two, for Walter and Esther, I know Ntare because he's also a wonderful experimental filmmaker, and our short films have traveled together in some festivals, and we've been threatening to work together for several years. And so, I reached out to him, and because I know he can do it. He's an incredible actor, and I know he can do accents as well.
Let's dance. I'm not stopping. Join me.
Oh, you are embarrassing yourself.
Then come rescue me. Huh? We'll be embarrassed together.
He did more than anything I could have even imagined. Similar to Zainab, I have never worked with her. She's very big in theater in New York. I mean, it wasn't even, it was, there wasn't even a question about it. It was just like, of course.
How is Walter?
Oh, he's working very hard. His life here is so difficult.
I don't believe we're met.
I usually come.
So you really, really lucked out. There literally isn't a single person on our cast who was sort of like a fly by night, just like, last minute call. Everybody was very deliberate and they did such amazing work. I'm really grateful.
The score is, again, unusually very un-African movie. So I want you to talk a bit about that.
My reason for wanting these characters to be from Angola as opposed to East Africa, which is where I'm from, is specifically because of the music and the dance that goes with the music, which I love. And I'm a practitioner of Kizomba, which is the style that Walter practices. Kizomba is a very beautiful, sensual couples dance from Angola, which, most people don't think beautiful, sensual couples dances from Africa, period. Most African dance is characterized by drumming and the fertility dance or the rain dance or, something like that, which is great. We have those too. But we also have these. The thing about Kizomba, which makes it very unique for me, is that there is not a regular foot pattern to the dance. The leader is dancing to the music and to how they feel about the music. And your job as the follower is to be connected to them so that you can follow, because they can change at any moment. And so there is a level of connection that's required. It's a very close, it looks like a lot of people get very intimidated because it looks super sexy. And it is, but you actually have to concentrate quite a bit because you really do need to have some sort of connection with your partner in order to perform. And I just thought that was a really interesting metaphor for a relationship of these two people who were in sync, literally were in step, and because of distance, because of time, have fallen out of step and are therefore not able to dance together. Kuduro, which is the style that Sylvia practices, is also out of Angola. It's kind of harsh and from the streets and from the youth and, young people. It's their way of expressing the things that they can't say to their elders, their frustrations with the economic situation or, coming out of a 30-year civil war and what that's done to the country and to people and domestic violence and all these different topics that people, have feelings about it, but don't have a place to express it other than through their dance and their music.
Watch her closely. She's the one to beat.
For Sylvia, as a young African girl who is not raised to speak back to her parents and tell them off, that would never happen. This would be the only way that she would be able to express herself.
I loved one other quality about the music, as Walter says at one point, it's the vehicle of freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dancing to music, you set yourself free. But it's also the way in which a very Portuguese affect comes into the film,
Mm-hmm.
because all the music carries this saudade, this kind of, not melancholy, but a sadness.
The longing.
About longing, a nostalgia for things which cannot and have not been, if you
Exactly.
made it a very unique African film in a way, because it had this pan-continental feel,
Mm-hmm.
It could easily be made in Brazil.
I was born in the US. My parents were students at the time. So this was the way that parents, told their children about where we're from. And in my research about, Angolans in exile, that was one of the things that came up, was just like the connection, how music, Kizomba and Samba music in particular, were so important in terms of the remembering of home, but also the transferring of information to youth about what we'd left behind, because many of them had never seen Angola.
Tell me what you want to do with it now, and where is it going now that it's had its big Sundance? Or maybe we could talk about Sundance.
Sundance was amazing, and we're so grateful that we had the experience of being able to show this film to a live audience, because the world is so different now. My film career, making stories about African people in a way that's not your typical, African story that Hollywood tends to put out or is normally seen on American screens and that kind of thing. I've had a lot of no's and a lot of question marks and what are you doing and who are these people and we don't quite understand, and are you sure shouldn't they have some more colorful clothes on, and I don't quite understand what they're saying. All of those kinds of things. Too many subtitles, not enough subtitles, etc. And so,
well, they speak in English.
right.
Oh, they should all speak English.
Exactly. And so I had kind of developed a little bit of a skin, around, I don't think anyone's going to get this. I'm going to make it anyways, but I'm not making it for you, because I just don't think, my experience has been that most American people don't get the work that I make. And so to be able to show it, to get into Sundance for one in competition, and be able to show it to all of these audiences who were just completely floored, and the tears and the gushing, and it was just like, wow, this is not what I expected at all. It was a really wonderful and beautiful experience. From here, we're releasing in the US December 11th. We're releasing on Mubi December 18th. Really excited to be able to share this work. Feeling very encouraged by the feedback that we've gotten thus far. It's been really interesting to see the different reactions. There's Team Walter, Team Esther, and Team Sylvia. Team Linda is also.
Really?
There have been a few Team Lindas, yeah. What happened to Linda? Justice for Linda.
Well, look, whatever happens, whichever team people are going to root for. I just hope they see it because it is a fantastic film. You know.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. I can't tell you how proud I am. You know, when I found out you're going to be in the London Film Festival, I was like, yay!
Well,
Well
thank you.
done.
Thank you for your guidance over the years. It definitely has helped to bring me here. You and the community at large, because, you know, I stand on many shoulders
Yeah, yeah.
in terms of being able to put this work forward and hopefully continuing to do so in the future.